All right, we're back. Hey, this is Sid Owsley from the Determination Determines Destination podcast, where we share stories of people using determination, the three D's. Determination determines the destination in life to overcome obstacles and challenges. And today we have Kristin Brooke. Kristin Brooke is an author and poet whose social media following exploded after completing speaker training with her mentor, Les Brown. Through this special training, Kristin Brooke was able to use the power of her voice after overcoming sexual trauma to uplift and encourage those who have been through trauma to not give up on themselves. After liberating herself from her own fears through dedication and changing her mindset with mentor and coach John Tallarico, Kristin Brooke began to act on all of the dreams she had imagined and was dedicated to write, speak, and to entertain. She is also an extreme execution coach with Eric Thomas, the hip hop preacher. Welcome, Kristin. How are you today?
Thank you. I'm doing well. How are you, Sid?
I'm doing fantastic.
Wonderful. Thank you for having me here today. This is amazing.
It's great having you. Great having you. And I had to reciprocate because I enjoyed being on your podcast.
Thank you. We're still editing that, so we're going to perfect that for you.
I know you will. I'm be doing the same thing for you.
Thank you.
So tell us about what you're up to. Tell us about being a hip hop, working with Eric Thomas, the hip hop preacher.
Oh, it's amazing. Eric Thomas, to even be in his presence, although virtually, is amazing. Just like it was to be in the presence of Les Brown. And I'm able to work with a team of people that really want to pull out the greatness in people and want to empower people to pull out their own strengths. So what we do is offer what we call flight assessments for people so that they can manifest their superpower. And they are able to learn how they show up in the world, how people perceive them, and then also how they see themselves and communication styles that are best suited for them.
Okay. So it's called a flight assessment.
Yes.
That's great.
Yes. I call it soaring to success.
Soaring to success. So are you able to tell us a little bit about what that entails a little more, or is that something that,
Yeah, I can tell you. So I actually did one for myself and they were able to provide me with the report that we provide. Okay. It's a very detailed report depending on the packages that you choose. And you're able to see essentially how you make decisions, how you influence and interact with others, how you like to do things, whether you do things very quickly or slowly, and where you fall within that range. And then also how you look at protocols, rules, and procedures, and how people perceive you when it comes to following those rules and procedures. So it gives you a very detailed outlook into who you are. And it is very wonderful for families. So especially families with teenagers, parents are able to understand how to best communicate with their child. So I actually have a client where the child prefers that things are written out and detailed as much as possible because she's a very critical and analytical thinker, where mom is somewhat too, but she probably wouldn't write a note in that detail, but knowing, okay, hey, I want you to set a reminder now to take the trash out every Monday at 6 p.m. so that you don't have to worry about it Tuesday morning will now works effectively for them. And just having those key things, I mean, it breaks it down very detailed as far as who you are and how to interact with others and what you're expecting because of your personality type.
Wow, that's some great information to bring out of a person, to know how to communicate with them. That's, you can't get any better than that. Once you know how to communicate with somebody, it makes things much easier in whatever you do. So that's awesome.
Right.
How long have you been doing this?
I just went through the training. I finished up in September, the online, it's usually in person, but the virtual course. And I'm now doing flight assessments for people as part of my training as well. So getting those under my belt. So if anyone does want to a free flight assessment, Sid. I'd love to give you one and anyone else that, it would help for you to understand their personality type.
Yeah, I would definitely do that.
Yeah.
So in the area of determination determines destination, tell us about some of the things that you've overcome in your life, some of the things you use what I call the 3Ds to success to overcome obstacles and challenges in your life.
Wow. So determination is everything. I've gone through a lot. So everyone knows now about that trauma that occurred when I lived in Arizona, which was probably one of the most difficult times to really have to say, okay, I'm determined to help myself through this. And luckily, I had some people that told me that I needed to go to counseling and therapy. And that was great. But you really don't change and overcome difficult circumstances unless you have a mindset and a will to do so.
Yeah.
So that was one. I also was a single parent when I obtained my bachelor's degree from Michigan State University. Okay. So that required a lot of determination. Yeah. And I'm not a very analytical person. I like to just do things and think outside of the box. And I guess I did do that. I took 20 credits one semester to hurry up and get done. And it was a lot. It was a very busy summer semester. I took 10 one half in the summer and 10 in the other. Most people will take 1 or 2 classes, but I was focused and determined to get done and get my bachelor's degree. Yeah. I also have had some just strained family relationships. We all say, oh, my family is not the greatest at all times, right? Or I've heard the theory or metaphor, excuse me, where people will say my family is like ice cream, right? A whole lot of sweet and a little bit nuts. So
that's family.
Right? So, I mean, family challenges. There is one person in particular that I think of that when I think of family challenges, it's hard to break through that. And, the best way to prove to someone that you are a good person is to be successful. Yeah. So, and I believe Les Brown also said that is the best revenge is massive success, right?
That's right.
So,
that's right.
Yeah, that's the way that we win. So determination really to push through and to get through something means the world to not only people that are watching you, but when you look back, it'll mean the world to yourself that you actually had that motivation for yourself to get to your realized goal.
Oh yeah, for sure. For sure. Yeah, I like that. Yeah. So what are some of your biggest wins in what you're doing?
Oh, so I had a conversation a couple weeks ago with Pratibha Day, and we were talking about how much we had gone through in the past 4 to 6 months. We literally had gone through Les Brown's training, and it's amazing to see the progress that we've made, with writing a book, with doing the Power Voice Summit too. And congratulations to you, Sid, for being a speaker on the upcoming Power Voice 3. It's amazing. And it's an amazing feeling to be able to get your message and your voice out to the world, to let people know that there's somebody in their corner that believes in them. I don't have to know you to believe in you and to want success for you and to want to share the love that I have within me, that that there's somebody out there. You might not know me, but I'm rooting for you. And just
thank you very much.
To have that as a success and a win is huge. So, I mean, for the book to be coming, I have a book being launched in February. That's massive. It's something that I have sat on for a decade. And
I understand.
I was like, oh, I'll self-publish, or maybe I'll look into finding a publisher. But I had never even printed the manuscript. and ordered the pages. It's a book of poetry and journal entries. And now it's just amazing to know that I've now connected with hundreds, if not thousands of people that have the same mindset, and they're pushing me to succeed. I've always wanted that success, but I have a network and a family now. And it's amazing to work with all of the people that have gone through this training.
And yes, it is. It is. It's been great.
Yes.
And you mentioned Pratibha. Pratibha, sit down. I know that you're jumping around since your name was mentioned.
Right. Yes, Pratibha Day. Sit Owsley.
But yes, we're very fortunate to be in a great group of people, very supportive, and I know I've enjoyed it very much. And meeting people like you, it has been a great experience.
Yeah, it has been. And it's amazing to just have the support and the encouragement. And there are a lot of people, we hear a lot of stories of people struggling through relationships prior, right? And we all have our struggles, we all have our stories, and it's a group of people. And it's kind of corny, but we're determined, right?
Yeah.
We're determined to get to our intended goal of success. And it's amazing to have all of these like-minded people when we all have a story of what we've gone through. And it's beyond words. It's a very powerful thing when you find your tribe.
Yeah.
And I feel like we've all found that. And I hope that everyone listening and watching also finds their tribe, that if there's someone that really pushes them to be successful or to be happy or to believe better and talk better and think better, that those are the people that they should be gravitating to. And pull away from the people that are negative. Sure. We have people, like I said, in my family, there's one person in particular that I had to decide that, all of the trying to mend this relationship has finally gotten to a point where it's no longer in my best interest. And I am now relieved of all of the tension and toxicity from that relationship. And it hurts, that you have a family relationship where maybe it's not best for you to continue that relationship with the fervor that the label, you would think that it should have. But when you make that decision to move on and to surround yourself with what's best for you, it's so powerful because you have a sense of peace like no other. And until you get to that point, you don't know what peace is like, really.
Yeah. You have to surround yourself with people that are like-minded, that support you, that will encourage you in your endeavors. People that you can be of service to them and they can be of service to you. You can help each other out. And that's what we've been fortunate enough to come across, in our own journey.
Right.
Yeah. And I've enjoyed seeing you move along your journey, and I've seen you just become someone who you've gained clarity. You've gained clarity, and you're moving. You're doing it.
And I'll tell you, it was tough. It was tough. I had, after the Power Voice Summit, I thought, okay, after I do this, I am going to just explode. And it's like the moment that I turned my camera off and I was done and I started watching everyone else, I realized, oh my gosh, I did it. I did one of the things that I thought I would never do. I literally put myself out there and my story out there for the world. And hopefully anybody going through what I went through now has that. But I had a breakdown almost. Like I was crying in my bathroom, like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I did this, And then I started working on my book, and my book, like I said, is journal entries, and it's journal entries from when I was going through what I went through. And it's crazy because back in that moment, I knew that it was helping me. And reading it, I was able to go back to those feelings, and I had to change my thought about those feelings. So in the book, you learn a lot about what I learned from the journal entries and what I learned going through the process. But I kind of had to turn everything off for a while. So it was like I dropped off, but I was doing work on me because I was determined to get the book done. And then I got the book done, and it's to the editors. And then I had another like, okay, this is going to be huge because now my secret is out, like everything that I thought and felt, people are going to be able to read that. So it's a success to be able to have that out there, but man,
huge success.
It can be heavy sometimes. Les says it's lonely at the top, and I get it. When someone goes through trauma like I did, there's a sense sometimes of loneliness, right? Because no one really understands, and it's just hard to be able to express really how you feel. And unfortunately, along with me telling my story, I've gotten a lot of unwanted attention where people are trying to exert, again, power and control virtually. And I received a phone call, a video call, actually, and I had to tell this well, he wasn't really a gentleman because what he did was despicable, but I had to ask him, and I guess that is maybe my next mission is what you're doing really honorable? Is it respectful? And so I want people to think now when they do something like that, because there are parts of the world where women are still getting acid poured in their face or honor killings because the family is embarrassed of what happened to her. That really, is it her dishonoring the family or someone else exerting power and control over her body, the dishonorable thing? Let's reframe our thoughts. Let's respect the bodies that carry babies and the wombs that carry lives. It's heavy, and it's a topic that a lot of people are not comfortable in talking about, but we don't have to talk about the most intimate details. It's just, if someone is assaulted, that is an assault, that is a battery against their body. And it is traumatic in that we tell people that your most intimate area you don't share with anyone, right? No one is supposed to touch you there, honey. That's what we tell our kids when they're little. If anybody ever touches you inappropriately, tell me, and there is supposed to be some level of intimacy there. And that, I think, is what makes it so hard, because if it were a punch in the face or a cut on the arm, we're able to name it and say, oh, that's wrong. You hurt someone, and my goal is to get to a point where there are places in the world that are changed and women are not suffering the embarrassment of speaking out and not being harmed for people finding out, and that people that are trying to exert power and control now realize that that wish to exert power and control is really not an honorable thing. And once we get to that point, then I will feel like, okay, my work is done. And I know it's a long process, and do I think that it'll ever be completely gone? No. We know that it's, you know,
but you've taken on the mission, and
yeah,
it's something that's very important to you, something that you know that needs to be done, and you've taken it on,
yes,
and you're doing it.
I'm doing that thing.
Yeah, you're doing
Yes,
your thing, and you know you should be commended for doing that, because you know there are a lot of women out here that need to hear that. They need you
women,
to say their
children,
story.
there, even men,
Yeah.
all genders. It's happening to all genders. And I think that we are so quick to say that it is women too, right?
Mhm.
And when we say that, sometimes we're overlooking the men that have gone through trauma,
Mhm.
whether it's in a locker room in high school
Mhm.
or um, even a transgendered person that, someone didn't like the fact that they were dressing, quote unquote, like a woman,
Mhm.
even though they see themselves as a woman.
Mhm.
Um, and I feel like it's a grown up conversation, yes, but it also is happening
Yeah.
to children. And we need to call it out for what it is. And it's just not honorable. It's not it's not an honorable thing. And it's something that is so ingrained in so many homes and cultures and uh, gosh, I mean, I feel like sometimes it's glorified in certain friend groups or you know
Yeah.
so
Yeah. It's that is happening in our society, and well, that's why people like you know, have stepped forward and are looking to make changes.
yes, yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So you've told us about being associated with Eric Thomas and the flight assessments and your book, but you have some other things going on. Tell us about that.
Who remind me? I
The
have
core,
I have the
the podcast.
podcast.
Yeah.
Yes, so the Core by Omnific. I have 4 episodes that need to be edited, and once those are edited and released, we're going to start recording even more. Uh, I that is on Spotify, uh, Anchor. It also posts to, I think, Google Podcasts and
Mhm.
various other platforms.
Mhm.
And I usually do alert my followers on Facebook
Mhm.
and Instagram. So, and then I also post them on YouTube. So you can see that at the Core by Omnifics page on YouTube. And all of my links are also in my social media. So, what else?
Well, what advice would you give someone who is uh, going through something, going through a traumatic situation in life? You know, what advice would you give them?
Oh, if someone is going through trauma, my advice is to not give up on yourself. So it's easy to think that you are alone and that no one understands. And that is absolutely not true. You are not alone. And more than you know, people do understand what you're going through. And it may be difficult to talk about.
Mhm.
I would say seek out counseling, seek out therapy, seek out those that you know you can love and trust and that will also love on you.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, I would also recommend affirmations. I do have a course coming up, how to guide yourself through trauma, and I
Okay.
have a free guide as well at thekristinbrooke.com.
All right.
If you want to connect with me outside of that free giveaway, you can reach me and connect with me at kristinbrooke.com. But I really recommend thinking about what you're thinking about. What are you saying to yourself?
Yeah.
Make sure that what you say to yourself is good.
Yes.
Yes. That by far is going to, even if you don't believe it at the moment, there were times where I blamed myself for trauma and thought, well, what if I didn't go? What if I wore something different? What if I wouldn't have moved to Arizona? What if I didn't send my daughter for the summer? Maybe that would have changed things. Yeah. It's in the past. Yeah. It's in the past. Let it go. You are not your circumstances. But don't react to it. Respond to it. Take time to think. Take time to breathe and to understand that you are valuable. The other part of trauma is not necessarily the trauma, but the grief. And I think I've said in another post before that I have a 3-year-old daughter now that lost her father when she was 1. And grief is another form of trauma. So take those resources that I am offering and utilize them. Find whatever gives you peace and hold on to it. Listen to it over and over and over again.
Yes. Yeah.
That will allow you to be determined to get past and get through whatever it is that you're going through.
Excellent advice. And as we wrap up, let everyone know once again how they can contact you, how they can find out what you're doing.
So connect with me on Facebook at Kristin Brooke, or it might be Xtinbrooke as my username if you put facebook.com/XTINBROOKE. Same on Instagram at XTINBROOKE. I have the Core by Omnific podcast. New episodes coming soon. Yep. And www.kristinbrooke.com or www.thekristinbrooke.com.
All right. Yes. Kristin, I thank you for being on the Determination Determines Destination podcast.
Thank you. It has been a pleasure. And again, I'm looking forward to December 12th, where we get to see you live.
Yes, I'm looking forward to it also.
Thank you for your time, Sid.
All right. Thank you, everyone. This is Sid Owsley, the Determination Determines Destination podcast, where we share stories of people using determination, the 3 Ds to success. Determination determines destination to overcome obstacles, challenges in life. Thank you.
Thank you.